Before we dive in, let me start with a simple disclaimer. I am not here to minimize or distort Japan's wartime past. The suffering of millions during World War II is undeniable. But there's a common misconception I'd like to address, one that claims Japan never apologized. Let's break it down. In 2001, Prime Minister Koizumi visited China, acknowledging Japan's aggression during World War II and apologizing for the pain caused. This wasn't a one-time thing. Koizumi, along with others, has issued formal apologies on behalf of the government. The 1995 Murayama Statement and numerous others highlight Japan's remorse. These aren't isolated words. These are government-backed acknowledgments and have never officially been revoked.
The Asian Women's Fund, the 2015 South Korean Agreement, and official compensation programs have provided both financial support and apologies to former comfort women. While many continue to debate these compensation efforts by Japan, and some continue to deny the Japanese government ever did so in the first place, the main point is that apologies and compensation were offered. Japan's ODA, Official Development Assistance, has also contributed billions in loans and grants to aid countries affected by Japan's wartime actions.
Following the 1951 San Francisco Peace Treaty, Japan negotiated compensation on an individual basis with affected countries. Some, like China and South Korea, formally renounced claims for traditional monetary reparations, and Japan later provided them with extensive ODA. China. As part of the 1972 Joint Communiqué, the People's Republic of China waived its right to war reparations. In return, Japan became China's largest donor of ODA for decades, providing loans and grants for major infrastructure and development projects. Following the 1965 Treaty on Basic Relations, Japan provided South Korea with a mix of grant aid and concessional loans as a settlement for war-related claims. This was considered economic cooperation rather than formal reparations, as the South Korean government refused Japan's offer of individually compensating Korean victims of its occupation and aggression. The 1956 reparation agreement provided the Philippines with $550 million in grants. In the 1950s, Japan was able to provide transportation equipment and other infrastructure-related goods and services as part of its payments. In addition, representatives of the government of Japan have given formal apologies to former Japanese prisoners of war for their suffering. Some argue that Japan's past apologies weren't public enough or official, but prime ministers like Koizumi are direct representatives of the government. Their apologies are as official as it gets. It's not cherry-picking, it's a fact. There's also the claim that Japan's textbooks hide the truth. Yes, Japan's school textbooks can sometimes downplay or lack detail on its wartime history, but this isn't a nationwide conspiracy. Each school has some autonomy over which textbooks they choose. Japanese schools can choose from different textbooks, and while some may gloss over history, others include important lessons about Japan's role in World War II.
For example, one of the approved middle school history textbooks from 2016, The History of Humanity, which mentioned Japan's imperialist expansion into neighboring countries. Tokyo Shoseki is the most widely used textbook publisher in Japan. A passage in one of its junior high history textbooks states, the Japanese military occupied the capital of Nanjing in the same year, 1937. In its process, the military killed a massive number of Chinese, including women and children. The comfort women situation was also referenced. These types of textbooks, unfortunately, angered Japanese ultranationalists, such as those who gathered in front of the Ministry of Education to publicly protest the inclusion of such references on February of 2021. And it's not just Japan. Many countries, including China, one of Japan's biggest critics, have their own selective takes on history. Does this mean every country is whitewashing history? Not all Japanese people are willfully ignorant of their past. Many activists, politicians, and historians work to teach the next generation about Japan's wartime history. Grassroots groups and peace museums across Japan actively raise awareness about the atrocities committed and encourage reflection. History is debated, discussed, and acknowledged, even if it's sometimes quieter than the louder voices you hear online. Politicians like Keiichiro Asao and Tadamori Oshima have spoken out about the importance of reckoning with Japan's war crimes. There are also grassroots movements within Japan, such as the Peace Museum Network, which works to preserve and promote historical narratives about Japan's aggression during World War II. One such museum, the Women's Active Museum on War and Peace, focuses on the history of comfort women. Another museum, the Oka Masaharu Memorial Nagasaki Peace Museum, details the plight of enslaved ethnic Koreans forced to work under brutal conditions. Since at least 2016, a citizens' organization has held annual exhibitions on Japan's wartime aggression at the Kanagawa Kenman Center in Yokohama. And a museum in Nagano Prefecture was embroiled in controversy over an exhibition displaying Unit 731's atrocities. My main point being, it does a great disservice to the many Japanese citizens who are aware of their painful history, for so many to then libel the entire country as ignorant and liars. While individual politicians like Yoshihide Suga have sometimes made controversial or harmful statements, the Japanese government itself has never rescinded its official apologies. From the Murayama statement to Koizumi's actions, Japan has maintained a steady course, despite political fluctuations. The narrative of Japan never apologized is misleading and overlooks the facts. History is complex, and yes, it should be taught in its full context for the sake of the millions who suffered. But let's not use misinformation to stoke division. Acknowledging the past is important, but it's also crucial to recognize what has been done, not cherry-pick and distort to suit a biased narrative.